Okay, we're on a boat going for Seabass. There's going to be a cooking portion at the end of this video. Today we're using these blade jigs. My cousin got these for me as a gift when he went to Japan. I replaced the trebles with just a single inline hook in the back, and those little clips are to balance out the bait.
That's pretty cool. This thing swims even at a pretty low speed.
So we're on anchor now and basically casting the jig up current. The jig weighs about 3/4 of an ounce. We're fishing about 65 to 75 feet. It's a little difficult to get right over the piece today, so the target we're trying to fish is a little bit to the north.
We can switch.
And it was pretty slow up until this point. Then I noticed my cousin at the bow of the boat started catching some pretty nice keepers. So I started casting in that direction, and you'll see after this next fish a demonstration on how to mug someone's spot on a charter boat or a party boat. So I make my way to the front. You don't want to box them out right away. You stay behind them, make a couple casts, and then you wait for your opportunity.
This was nicer. The bigger ones are higher up.
Now you engage in some banter,
So it feels decent.
keep up the conversation.
Oh no, it's just because I hooked them like that. This one still might be a keeper.
Now I move diagonally to the other side while I unhook this fish.
Keeper? Oh yeah, look at that.
Yep.
Alright, keep your rod.
Now he's preoccupied, and there you go. Boxed him out. Now I'm at the bow
I
position.
thought I'd be catching bigger fish with this Japanese lure.
And all is good. Okay, so the rod I'm using is a Lamy Glass TFX 6-foot jigging rod. It's got a pretty moderate taper, which I do prefer for sea bass fishing. There's not a lot of weight to these fish. Even the larger ones, when you set the hook, they tend to swim up with your hook set. So it's very important to keep your rod tip high and just keep reeling. Don't give them any slack. The reel I'm using is the Daiwa SV103. Any high-speed reel would do. This one I think is an 8-to-1.
Yeah? 12.5 you said?
And as usual, we bleed these fish out into a bucket, and then we transfer it to the cooler. So here my cousin is shooting some B-roll. I'm basically retrieving just fast enough to get action out of the jig. And once you set the hook, you want to keep that bend in the rod. These aren't big fish, but you can see that this blank loads up pretty nicely. And I do apologize for the blue mask. It certainly looks a little disturbing, but I hate sunscreen, so I'm all covered up.
Yeah, but you know what? I might go a little bigger, because...
So as the day goes on, these fish are going to get a little bit bigger.
Like this. Look at the deep bed.
My cousin's using just a jig head with a plastic skirt and I think a 5-inch chartreuse gulp mullet, and he's doing very well. There's something about using just a metal jig. You know, I don't have to worry about the gulp. I don't have to worry about, you know, the tails getting bit off or the grub getting pulled down the hook shank. It's just much simpler kind of fishing. I think diamond jigs will work just as well. One advantage of these blade jigs over diamond jigs is that there's virtually no line twist. They swim like a rattle trap, but they sink like an actual metal jig. So
I think I captured that perfect.
it's pretty cool.
That's like a Gong Li hook set.
Yeah, now the school seems to be turned on,
Should be a keeper.
and we're catching fish virtually every cast.
Look at that. This one feels nice.
Oh yeah, that looks.
I think I might have snagged. Yeah, I snagged it. Yeah.
How you doing, Zoran?
In terms of jigging action, I'm using a combination of squidding and just yo-yoing the jig. I'm not sure how these jigs behave on the fall. I don't think there's any shimmy to them. I think they just drop. But either way, the fish are hitting them on the drop and on the retrieve. So basically, if you see marks on your graph and the fish are a little bit higher up, say 10-20 feet, which was the case today, you want to drop your jig through the school. You still want to get to the bottom because a lot of the larger fish, they're going to turn and follow your jig down, and then you retrieve your jig through the school and then disengage your clutch, let the jig fall again. That's basically what squidding is. You vary your retrieve speed, and yeah, I mean, you know, these fish want to eat. They're gonna follow the jig. Sometimes they'll follow it, you know, up to 10 feet below the surface.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's a keeper.
Yeah, I don't know how to measure this.
Yeah, these fish are quite beautiful to look at, especially the males.
Barely hooked.
I believe this species, they actually changed their sex. They're hermaphrodites, and yeah, so my cousin has a female. I've got a male. It's much more color on the males. Anyway, we're off the anchor now. We're on the drift. It's wind against tide, so we're fishing the same general area. And in this case, I'm casting the jig up current and then working it around the bow. And here I'm doing more of a yo-yo because we're not seeing any marks off the bottom. They seem to be pretty tight to the structure at this point. Here's where I pick up a couple of my larger fish that day.
It could have been beautiful. Bouncy, bouncy. Oh, okay. Alright, that's the risk.
And today we're fishing with Joey Tomatoes. That's the charter boat. They're out of Point Pleasant. And also on board is my friend Zoran. He's a good kayak fishing buddy of mine, and we decided to take advantage of the Seabass season. This is one species that kind of tough to get on the kayak.
Nice. Right.
They're not really inshore in the bays.
Oh yeah. Unless you don't care. Unless you're like super low level.
And here is my biggest fish of the day.
This one's
The
good.
size on average wasn't too impressive, but
This one's a big fish.
you know, it's all relative.
Come on,
Last
buddy.
year on
Get
this
good
trip,
lip
we were catching just honest 4.5 pound sea bass, which is pretty good for New Jersey.
Oh, that's big.
I need a net here.
I think a net. Oh, no.
Oh, that's a keeper.
Alright, look at the color.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's nice.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm really having a lot of fun with this blade bait. I think I'm gonna try them out for fluke, especially when the water temperature warms up.
Actually, I do.
And my cousin's gonna take a photo for me here.
I mean, this is. It's
See how
still
far out
compared
I'm
to the
holding
last
this
one.
fish. My cousin's a very good fishing partner. He can catch fish, he can take photos. It's good stuff. Anyway, I believe that was the fish we're gonna cook right now. So this is a pretty classic Cantonese way of cooking fish, especially fish in the grouper family, which is what sea bass is. So we're basically just gonna steam it. The garnish is thinly sliced scallion and ginger. So you want mostly the white part of the scallion and just a few stalks of the green part, just for color. Most of the flavor is in the white portion. Here we're just gonna square off a piece of ginger root, thinly sliced, and then we're gonna cut julienne. Those pieces we just cut off, that's gonna go in with the fish as it steams. And the julienne, ginger, and scallion is that's gonna top the fish at the very end. You spread them out and you just run your knife through. So the most important technique to master for this dish is obviously the timing. You want your water to be on a rapid boil, and I use a thermometer to temp the fish. Like 1.5 to 2 pound sea bass, I'll go maybe 7 minutes, and then I check the temperature. The 3-4 pounders, you want to give it 9 minutes and then check. Try to use the same burner on your stove each time, the same amount of water, and obviously the same heat setting, so you get a sense of, you know, the size of the fish and how long you have to steam it for. So these roughly chopped pieces are gonna steam with the fish, and then they'll be discarded. Alright, so here we're pouring just a little bit of rice wine. This is sake. On the plate we're gonna steam the fish in, and we're just gonna roll the fish in the sake first, lay down the ginger, and prep the remaining ingredients.
Cool.
It still has some color.
My cousin actually cleaned this fish for me, so he did a good job. You want to make sure you get all the scales off, obviously. Clean out the bloodline. Yeah, this is how I prefer the fish to be positioned on the plate, just spread its gill plates out and lie it, you know, vertically, as if it's still swimming. If you lay it on its side, you're not going to get an even temperature while it steams. Fishy smell, but it'll be fine. Alright, so here is the sauce. It's very simple. It's a third of sake or rice wine and 2/3 dark soy sauce. It's very important that you use dark soy sauce and not regular dipping soy sauce. The salt content in dark soy is about half, and the third ingredient is just regular table sugar. And basically you want enough sugar to completely saturate into this solution. And then when you pour it over the fish, obviously you don't pour the actual sugar crystals in. So it's a completely saturated syrup that you can whisk in at room temperature. And there's a steamer. That is a pretty nifty tool. Although I have nightmares about that flimsy thing breaking, especially when I lift the fish out. Okay, so this was 9.5 minutes. I'm gonna give it a quick temp in the shoulder. You want to hit ideally 125. Anywhere between 125 and 135, you're good. Seabass is pretty forgiving. You know, that 10-15 degree range, you know, is about 30 seconds. So some fish, like if you're trying to steam fluke, man, you've got like a 5-second window before it's overcooked. Alright, so pour out most of the liquid. You do want to save some, because that juice is going to combine with your soy sauce to make the sauce. Get rid of the ginger slices. You should probably use chopsticks or something. Now you slide the fish onto your presentation plate, and when they're fresh, they're going to completely just collapse like this, which is fine. Alright, so here is the oil we're going to use to flash the scallions. So put that on the heat. Keep an eye on it. You want it hot, but you don't want to burst into flames. Alright, so we like a lot of garnish. So yeah, this is a lot. Probably too much, but that's fine. So just try to cover the entire fish with your scallion and ginger strips. Gently sauce the whole thing. You want to try to get all the scallion and ginger coated in the soy sauce. And then you see all the sugar that's not dissolved. You want to leave that in the bowl.
Nice.
Okay, so now the oil is smoking. That's grapeseed oil, by the way. Any high smoke point oil would do. Pour it over to flash the scallion. Get it pretty low to the plate. You know, that oil can really burn you. Yeah, the smell of this is just amazing.
Nice.
And that's it. You know, it's a pretty basic dish, pretty classic dish. It looks alright, but it tastes even better. Anyway, thanks for watching.